It's time to start a conversation about common mistakes in bodybuilding, and today we are covering a big one. Whether you compete or not, too many people focus on just half the process in bodybuilding. Everybody wants to get shredded. Now, if that's your goal, you're likely neglecting your off-season or growth phase, and today we're going to talk about how you can fix that and why it's important that you do. Starr here once again. Thanks for visiting my channel. And if you've been here before, welcome back. And if it's your first time here, hit the subscribe button right down there and go ahead and introduce yourself in the comments below. So, off-season, I want to talk about three very specific topics today. Why it's important, what you can expect, and how you do it correctly. I've also got a bonus topic at the end, so stick around for that. Okay, let's jump right in. Okay, first point, why it's important. So the off season, or whatever you want to call it, growth season, improvement season, whatever, they all mean the same thing, so we don't need to get caught up in semantics there. As a bodybuilder, what does this mean? It means that you're not cutting, you're not prepping for a show, so what are we doing? No, we're not just stuffing our face all day long with donuts and cake and pizza, although that may seem kind of appealing at times. No, we're focusing on improvements. This is your chance to bring up lagging body parts, put on some additional size, work on some additional detail, address imbalances. But aesthetic improvement is only one reason why the off-season is important. Additionally, your body just needs a break. You can't cut all the time, keeping yourself in a big caloric deficit and doing a ton of cardio and expect to not suffer some kind of a consequence as a result of that. So an off-season phase is a chance to breathe a little bit, let your metabolism rebound, let somebody else hog the step mill in the gym for an hour a day, and it's your chance to live at least a little bit like a normal person for a while. Topic number two, how do we do it? When you're cutting, it's all about energy deficit. Your calories are going to be lower, your cardio is going to be higher. During an off-season or growth phase, the reverse is true. Your calories are going to be higher, your cardio is going to be lower. Macros should not necessarily, however, reach infinity status, and there's still a lot of value in keeping things relatively clean. Having your cardio all the way down to zero, similarly, is not necessarily good, but it should be a very reasonable amount. We just want to use cardio to maintain cardiovascular health. We don't necessarily at this stage want to use cardio as a fat loss tool. That's not what we're chasing. As far as precisely how you should change your macros or adjust your cardio, the answer is, of course, it depends. I do recommend avoiding massive shifts in any of these variables. You don't want to take your carbs from 100 grams a day all the way up to 300 grams a day in one fell swoop, and you don't want to go from doing an hour of cardio a day all the way down to zero. With cardio especially, I find it's fairly valuable to keep those shifts relatively small and continue doing some and just taper it down to help manage your rebound coming out of a cut. One big thing that can change during a growth phase is precision. When you're cutting, everything is more scarce, so it's important that the level of precision in your diet is high. When you're trying to grow, you can get away with a little estimation, some eyeballing, a macronutrient-friendly substitution here and there, a regular cheat meal. Things like that are okay. Just keep it reasonable and don't use some kind of rationalization like, oh, I'm bulking, bro, as an excuse to get lazy or fat. I still recommend tracking and weighing most foods, but your margin of error can develop a little bit more wiggle room during a growth phase. One thing that's really easy is training. I go against the conventional wisdom here, and I don't typically advocate big, massive shifts in how you approach your training based on the phase of the diet you're in. You know, the philosophy of what built the muscle will keep the muscle. When you're transitioning into a cut, the inverse is true. What kept the muscle will then help you build it for the most part when you go into that growth phase. Topic number three, what to expect in a growth phase. First of all, you can expect that without a clearly defined long-term goal, this phase is going to be hard and you're going to lose focus. More on that in a minute. Now, this phase is very hard just because improvements mean muscle growth, and muscle growth is a slow process, even when it's done optimally. In a way, cutting body fat is almost easier because you can see changes in body fat reduction over a shorter period of time. It's easier to get some instant feedback and some validation on what you're doing. Muscle growth is hard because A, it's a slow process, and B, in the process of doing that, you're going to lose a little bit of the detail and definition that you've earned. So you're not only seeing that slip away, but also that loss in detail and definition can make it harder to see and realize the slow changes and the slow improvements in muscle size that you are achieving. It's for both of those reasons that many people never really fully undergo a proper off-season or growth phase. And also because many people simply over-focus on their short-term goal, whether it's a show, photo shoot, whatever. That initial target comes and goes, and with it goes all the motivation for counting macros, hitting cardio, whatever. But if you focus on continuous improvement, you realize one big thing, and that is that bodybuilding is cyclical at its very nature. You can't just cut indefinitely, and you don't want to be stuck in permabulk status forever. Neither of those extremes are particularly healthy or useful or effective when done in the long term. So it's good to embrace a shift in direction that comes with the change in phase, but realize that those phases do need to be treated just a little bit differently. Bonus topic is a discussion on strategy. Now, a big question that I get is, how do I know when it's time to bulk? How do I know when it's time to cut? If you're working with a coach, it's a huge help because a coach with a good eye can help you figure this stuff out. Now, if you are competing, your coach can help you pick a date for your show, and then all of your phases need to be planned around that. If you're not competing, you've got more flexibility in your dates, but I still find it really helpful to bring a show prep mentality to it anyway, a sense of urgency and a ticking clock to help maintain focus from week to week. So getting a proper assessment is key. Someone that can look at your physique and say, hey, we can jump right into muscle growth, or we need to focus on fat loss first, getting your metabolism up, etc. So for the next 7 days after this video goes up, I will offer a free assessment to anybody who contacts me through my website. Just go to 5starphysique.com, click on contact, and send me your particulars, and we'll start a discussion there. So in summary, yes, off-season is important. It requires focus, commitment, attention to detail, and a fierce, aggressive mindset to see it through successfully. One thing that can really help is a good training program. Now, I mentioned before that I don't necessarily advocate huge shifts in how you approach your training if you're going from a cutting phase to an off-season phase, but still, a few tweaks and variables, a couple of changes in exercise selection can go a long way. Once you've got your calories up, you can hit heavier, more compound movements with a lower rep range. So I did put up a new workout plan to coincide with the release of this video. If you check the description below, you can find a link to that on my website, along with other workout plans that I have up there if you're in a different phase right now and still looking for some kind of a training program to boost your efforts in the gym. Okay, thank you all for watching so much. I appreciate it. If you like this video, hit the like button, leave a comment, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for future updates. I would appreciate all of those things. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.